So at the end of the last session, we were waiting, or I was waiting, for my first appointment with my new therapist. I was having a really hard time just surviving each day. I was so depressed, I didn't care about much, and my anxiety level was off the charts. Actually, I had very little trust that I would even be able to find her office. But she gave me explicit directions and set my mind at ease about that right away. I asked her how much she charged because I wasn't working very much then, so had very limited income. She said she worked on a sliding scale, and because of my situation, she would see me for a ridiculously low amount of money. Ugh, okay. I was pretty sure I could scrape up that much. I arrived a few minutes early for that first appointment. I recall going into her office and seeing a form and a pen. I knew that was meant for me to fill out, and my anxiety skyrocketed. My internal dialogue went something like this. Oh, no. Now what are you going to do? You lied to her on the phone about your true identity, and now you have to put it in writing. She's not going to believe anything else you say if you tell her you lied about your name. I was mortified. What do you do now? I got to think of something to tell her so she won't think I'm crazy before I even get in there to talk with her. Now I'm saying to you, think about that scenario for a minute. The reason for my being there was because I thought I was crazy. And I'm worrying about my new therapist thinking I'm crazy? Okay, I needed to be there. I can laugh at that story in hindsight, but in the moment, it was not funny. This infamous form was not at all intrusive. The questions were very general, like name, address, phone number. But in that moment, it was almost more information than I could allow. I sat there with the clipboard on my lap and pen in hand desperately, trying to decide whether I should continue with this charade or be honest. I thought, you should just keep lying about your name and the rest of it. You're never coming back here, so don't even worry about it. I did consider leaving, but I didn't honestly think she'd be able to help me. So many other therapists and doctors through the years were unable to help me. Why would she be any different? I was just about ready to make my escape when she and the other patient came through the door. It was then I knew. Escape time for me was over. They said their goodbyes and she invited me into the room with which I would become very familiar. The room where, at last, my healing journey would truly begin. You know, I didn't know much about this therapist in the beginning, but I found out a lot as time went on. I found out that she is a trauma-informed therapist. Trauma-informed, very succinctly put, in my own words, meant that she understood the whys and wherefores of what made me tick. She knew those whys from the beginning of that initial split to my incorporation, and all the wherefores from the potholes and the detours through to all the repairs. She not only knew what made me tick, but at that point on my journey, she was really what kept me ticking. She was trained by an internationally known psychologist. I'll tell you more about him later. But suffice to say, when I talk about the knowledge of my therapist, it is in part because she was trained by one of the best, which makes her one of the best. Of course, in my book, they're each the best at what they do. But please, if you want to counsel with someone who's been trained to treat survivors, find a trauma-informed therapist. She taught me what happens when a child is traumatized repeatedly early in life, usually before the age of 4 or 5. She said I needed to participate in talk therapy and be willing to do some intense inner work. She told me there were new coping skills I could learn to use instead of the ones that no longer served me. I honestly don't know why, but I believed her. Hey, stick around for the next segment. All right, thanks.